Hi there, freelance friends. Welcome back. So, because PowerPoint is such a commonly used tool, I decided that I was going to do this video on another PowerPoint hack that I found that many people don't know exists. So, if you've been using PowerPoint for years and you've never heard of custom slideshows, I don't think that you're alone. I think that this is one of those additional, incredibly useful features that's really hidden in plain sight. Most people have no idea it exists, even though it can save you tons of time and make you look way more professional in front of your clients, which don't we all want to do? Now, here's the problem that it's going to solve for you. Say you have a master presentation deck that covers everything you do. For instance, it covers your services. It has maybe a couple case studies about clients that you've worked with previously. It's got your pricing options. It's got client testimonials, process details. It's basically got it all. But sometimes when you meet with a specific client, they don't need to see all of that information. They only need to see the parts that are really relevant to them. Now, what most freelancers do, and I'd say most non-freelancers too, is that maybe they show the entire deck and they bore the client with irrelevant slides, or they manually skip through those slides during the presentation. Let me just fast forward through these that we don't need. That's a little awkward and may seem unprofessional depending on the client. Other freelancers will create a brand new slide presentation for each client, but that's time consuming. Even if you think, it's relatively quick and easy, it's time consuming and it adds more clutter on your drive as far as navigating through the various files that you have. Last, I've learned that some people will sometimes duplicate that master deck and then just delete the slides. So they're not necessarily creating a brand new deck, they're just duplicating what they had and then going and editing it. But this is also time consuming because you have to take the time to do it. And how many versions are you going to have at the end? Think of all the clients that you're going to have over time and have all these different versions of decks. That could be time consuming and space consuming on your hard drive or the cloud, wherever you store it. Now, if you use custom slideshows, it may eliminate at least some of these problems. So, okay, Jennifer, what's a custom slideshow, right? Well, custom slideshows basically are a PowerPoint feature that let you create multiple playlists. You can think of it as a playlist of slides within a single presentation. So basically, you're keeping all your slides in one master deck, but you're defining a different sequence of slides to show to different audiences without creating separate files or deleting anything. So think of it like this. If you have a sales pitch master slide deck, you could create presentations within that same deck for different clients. So, for instance, you could make a custom slideshow that was a sales pitch for small businesses. And that might include, we'll just make up something, slide 1, 3, 7, 12 to 15, 20, and 35. But then you have another custom slideshow that's your sales pitch for enterprise clients. And that version could show slides 1, 4, 8, 16 to 19, 25, 30 to 33, and 40. So in that instance, it's the same file, but you have those different shows embedded within that same master deck. You don't have to do any duplication. You don't have to do any manual skipping. So this can really be a game changer for freelancers, because as freelancers, we're constantly tailoring different pitches to different clients. And as I mentioned, maintaining separate presentation files for every scenario can get to be a little bit of a nightmare. Files can get out of sync. Maybe you update your pricing in one deck, but you forget to update it in 3 other decks. You can't remember what version has the latest case study. Having everything in one deck does make it easier. So custom slideshows could potentially solve your problem by letting you maintain one master deck that stays current while still giving you the flexibility to show different content to different audiences. So how can this help in a real scenario? Okay, let's give one example. So again, if you have different service offerings, let's say you're a freelance graphic designer who offers branding, web design, and marketing materials. Well, obviously not every client that you're going to pitch is looking for all 3 of these. So without a custom slideshow, you'd be creating a deck for branding, a deck for web design only, and a deck for the full package. But when you update your portfolio or pricing, you're going to have to update all those files. With a custom slideshow, you can have one master deck and create 3 custom shows, like branding clients that's going to show the intro, the branding process, your branding portfolio, pricing for branding, testimonials, and next steps. Or also create a web design custom slideshow, which would show the intro, the web design process, your web design portfolio, your pricing for those services, testimonials, and next steps. And then, of course, you'd have the full service clients where you would be showing most or all of the deck. But again, you're going to update it once, not everywhere. The other scenario where you could use this is, let's say you're a freelance consultant who works with both healthcare and tech companies. Really common, right? I know I don't always work with clients in the same industry. Well, in this case, your approach is going to be similar, but the case studies and industry-specific examples are obviously going to be different. So in this circumstance, you can keep all your case studies in the master deck, but create a healthcare pitch that shows the relevant healthcare case studies and compliance information, and then a tech pitch which shows relevant tech case studies and innovation examples. So you'd have the same introductory slides, the same process slides, the same pricing, but you're just basically swapping out the industry-specific content on the back end. Now, of course, this also works in other scenarios. There are just a couple. Maybe you have a comprehensive 45-minute presentation, but sometimes you have to scale it back to 15 minutes because of a client request. You could have a longer and a shorter or a medium version too in there. You basically could have this quick pitch and a full presentation and somewhere in the middle. Or another situation is different audiences, when there are different decision makers, right? Sometimes we present certain information when we know we're presenting to the CEO compared to a project manager. So, you could also have that set up. So how do you actually create a custom slideshow in PowerPoint? Well, that's a good question, but it's actually really easy. So you basically will just build your master deck, make sure that you have that comprehensive presentation that includes everything that you might want to show to a client, all your services, your case studies, all your pricing options and your process details. Now, don't even worry about the order being perfect for every situation. Just make sure you get it all in there. Then you're going to access the custom slideshows by going to the slideshow tab in PowerPoint. And then from there, you're going to click the custom slideshow option and choose custom views. And this is basically where the magic happens. You're going to create a new custom show by clicking new. And then you're going to see a list of all the slides in your presentation on the left. All you have to do is select the slides you want to include in this custom show and then click Add to move them to the right. And then from there, you can use the up and down arrows to arrange the slides in the order that you want to present. Now, here you're going to be asked to give your custom show a descriptive name. Something appropriate is what you want to enter here. Something that's really going to be an indicator for you of what this custom slideshow includes. And then click OK. And that's it. Basically, if you want to create additional custom shows within that deck, you just have to rinse and repeat that process that we just did for each different audience or scenario that you want to present to. Now, what about when you actually want to present this custom slideshow? And of course, you are going to test this first before you ever just, walk into a client meeting. But it's easy. When it's time to present, instead of just clicking from the beginning like you may normally do, you're going to go to the slideshow tab, you're going to go back to custom slideshow, and you're going to select the specific slideshow you want to present. And then from there, you just present as normal. It really is pretty easy. PowerPoint's only going to show the slides that you included in that custom show in the order that you specified. So I do have a few tips for you as someone who has used these on several projects. The first one goes back to something that I just mentioned about naming your custom slideshow clearly. You want to make sure that you grab the right show. You don't want there to be any question of that when you are meeting with a client and you're pulling it up. So please be clear with the title. And then also make sure that you're keeping basically a master full deck custom show available. So what happens is, even though your default deck contains everything, you should still create a custom show called Full Presentation All Slides that includes all the slides in order, because that's going to give you that complete walkthrough option if you ever need it. It's also a good reference for what's in the deck. Now, the next one is you want to make sure to update the master deck, not the custom shows. So obviously we all update content in our presentation deck. When you do something like change the pricing or you add a new case study, please update it in the master deck. The custom shows will automatically reflect the changes as long as you're using the same slides, because they're basically just referencing those slides. So you won't need to update every custom show individually unless you're adding or removing slides from the show sequence itself. Next, I would recommend using section headers. This may be more of an overall PowerPoint suggestion, but I'll just throw it in. Especially if your master deck is large, using those PowerPoint section features to organize your slides into logical groups like your introduction, your services, your case studies, etc., really makes it easier to find and select slides when you are building those custom slideshows. The other one I also mentioned before, but it's definitely worth mentioning again, is test your custom shows before presenting. Don't assume, test first. And if you are feeling a little worried about maybe selecting the wrong one, you can always keep a note on which show to use when. So for instance, for me, for my own freelance training deck, what I have is a master deck that basically includes information about me and my background. And then I have slides explaining the different training topics that I do, because I often, mostly, do technology related training topics, but I do also deliver some leadership workshops because of my experience as a leader. So I've got all those, and then I've got different slides about training formats, if they want a virtual ed workshop, if they want an in-person workshop, if they want a recording, all of those types of things. And then, of course, case studies, pricing, testimonials, and then a next step slides. Now that's a lot of information. So basically what I've done is create custom slideshows that geared towards the technology trainings, or I even have one that's specifically on Copilot and AI, because sometimes there are clients now who are just looking for that. And similarly, I created one for those clients who are looking for leadership or are looking for maybe general Microsoft Office proficiency trainings at different levels for their staff. Or I met with someone last week who was looking for Excel training for their staff. It's all different ways that I can create different custom shows for different clients. So that way, when a potential client reaches out, I can quickly determine which custom show fits their needs and present a tailored pitch without having to create a new file. And even if it's something unique, I can always just go to that custom slideshow option and create another additional custom show within the deck, which obviously is helpful. Now, as great as custom slideshows are, there are instances where you're not going to want to use them. For instance, I'd say don't use them if you only have one type of client and a standard pitch. Then the scenarios that I gave are not going to be relevant for you, because you'll be showing the same content to everyone every time. So you wouldn't need a custom slideshow. Additionally, I'd say don't use them if your presentations are really highly customized with client-specific data on every slide, because in that case, you probably do need to create individual files for each of your clients. Additionally, I don't think that I would use them if you need a completely different visual brand or tone with different clients that you're pitching. Then custom shows that are using the same slides are probably not going to meet that need for you. But do use them if you have one core message or service and only need to emphasize different aspects for different audiences. And like all of the tips, or hopefully like all of the tips that I share with you, it's basically to try to save you time and energy. If you think about the time that you're going to be saving updating some of these decks, it's obviously could be really significant time, especially when you look over the weeks or the months. So in summary, custom slideshows are just one of those PowerPoint features that once you start using it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without them. If it does fit your needs, they're going to let you maintain that one master presentation while still delivering your tailored professional pitches to different audiences. And you don't have to manage those multiple versions of the same deck anymore. No more awkward skipping slides during presentations or outdated pricing in the one file you forgot to update. Oops. You'll have that one master deck and multiple options available. So if you're a freelancer who presents to different types of clients, custom slideshows will save you the time. It'll help you reduce potential mistakes and just make you look more polished and professional. So my recommendation is, set aside some time this week and try to build your master deck and then create your first few custom slideshows. And hopefully, as I always say, your future self and your clients will thank you. So thank you for watching. If you've used a custom slideshow and you've had success with it before for a certain search situation, I'd love to know. I'd also love it if you like and subscribe and help the channel so I can keep making more videos like this if you found them helpful. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.